All right, this is going to be now lecture number 2 of 3, where I'm going to give, as it says right there, a brief introduction in this lecture, in this tape, or this video, to the AWD1000 Web Development Technologies course that some of you will be taking in the fall semester. When I get done with this lecture, I'll give another one on the AWD1115 Database-Driven Web Development 2 second year class that some of you will be taking next semester. Now it says, please see the attached file. So let's bring up the attached file. All right, this is a program spec sheet that's got basically what all the courses in here, the 4 courses that make up or constitute the application web development program. All right. So the first one is AWD1000 Web Development Technologies. I'm not going to read that to you. All right. But what we do in that class is we spend approximately the first 30 days, and in there you learn HTML, the hypertext markup language. Then you learn CSS, cascading style sheets. Excuse me. And that's for approximately the first 30 days of the class. We also go over a couple of other things. But then on about day 30, we change over and you learn JavaScript for the rest of that class. Now, you all know this already, but that said, you go over to here. For the class that you're in right now, the C# class, we're using this book. You know this already. This is your book, Murox C#. For the AWD 1000 class that you'll be taking, there are 2 books. The first one, the one that we spend about the first 30 days on, is Murox HTML and CSS 5th edition. Now, if I go down here and I go to the table of contents, all right, we go over chapters 1 through 8 in detail. We go through chapters 9 and 10 in detail. We go through chapters 11 to 15 in detail, and chapter 16. We don't go over how to deploy a website in this class. And the how to use JavaScript in chapter 18, we typically don't go through that because that's it. Right? So you can plan on we'll go through maybe the first 3 chapters, then have a test, then the next 2 chapters and have a test, then the next 3 chapters and have a test, and then the next 2 chapters and have a test, etc. It'll always work out, or usually every 2 or 3 chapters. Now, if this is your first class and you don't know what to expect, for every, when you work on this, every week you will be assigned lab exercises, homework problems, and written tests. All right. All the stuff that you're going to be assigned will all be sent to you. You'll get an email from me before class starts. I haven't had a chance to put it all together yet. All right. So all of that material will be sent to you so you'll know what's going on. After we get done with, like I said, about day 30, all right, then we go in and the second book that we use, also a Murox text, come on, is this one, Murox JavaScript and jQuery 4th edition. Now, if we look through that one, even though we're spending 50 days on it, we don't go through every chapter that's in here. We hit hard the first 7 chapters, We go through fairly quickly the next 4 chapters, but the stuff that's left after that between 12 and 19, usually I go through 12, I go through 13, I do very little on 14, I go through 15, very little on 16. And then usually like the last week of class or the second last or whatever, we spend part of each class period on this. Now, if after, the people who are taking the AWD1000 class in fall, if you've already taken the C# class, then the next class you take in the progression will be AWD1111, which is Database Driven Web Development 1. In there, you learn all about Node.js. So I usually spend part of a period going over that. And again, just like before, typically we'll go through 2 or 3 chapters, then take a hands-on test. It's usually called a HOT. Now, with those, the way that the class will work is by Monday, you'll get assigned some stuff that will then be due the following Sunday. Also, the way if you start looking through the syllabus for the class, I've tried to set the class up so that virtually every Friday will be a lab day. That'll mean on that day, there'll be no lecture. I'll be online. So if you have questions, feel free to contact me, jpscott@rankin.edu. All right. So let's see. There was one more thing I wanted to mention with that. Like I said, you will get an email from me and it'll have a big zip file in it. And it'll have all of the written tests in there for the semester, all of the lab assignments, all of the homework assignments. When it comes to hands-on tests, some of you I know this already because you're in the AWD 1100 class now. But when it comes to a hands-on test, let's say that we've gone over chapters 1, 2, and 3. Now we're having our first hands-on test. I always email you the test by 7 a.m. Then from 8 a.m. until about 8:15 a.m., I give a quick little lecture where I show you the test and I go over what it's supposed to be. Then you get until midnight. So again, that basically is what the class is all about. Now, to show you in just a little more depth and breadth of coverage, all right, not much, but just a little bit, all right, this is the kind of thing that you will be able to do. All right, so I think I've got it out here someplace. There it is. So you'll be able to create something that looks like this. All right. And you're like, that's pretty ugly. Yeah. This is just HTML right in here. So we've got in some hyperlinks, some text, some images. All right. And we can go to another page and we've got some more text, a little thing here, some pictures. And then on the last page, we've got, and it doesn't look like much. And that's totally okay. It really is. All right. Why is that okay? Because after we go through and start building a lot of this, not all of it, but a lot of this, then we'll come back. And all I want to do is I want to add one thing into this program. All right. And that is, I think I removed it. Let's see, link. That should be S for styles. So I changed it from styles to style. Now look at how this changes. All right, so it'll look more like this. Okay, it's not fantastic, but it's not bad either. It's got a working clock on the bottom. All right. And I can go to an about page. All right. I don't know what's happening here. I must have, let me see what's going on with that one. That needs an S also. And if that one needs an S, then I'm sure this one needs an S also. Yep. All right. So you'll be able to create something that looks like this. All right. And then here's a second page. All right. And then finally, here is a third page. All right. This has actually got a little game in there. It says, nope, wrong. That was too high. So I'll say 25. Yes. That was too low. 37. That was too high. 30. That was too low. 33. And I guessed it. All right. That is not meant to impress you or to say, oh, gee whiz. But these are the kind of things that you're going to be able to create. All right. I'll show you quickly another one of the ones that we have created. All right. I'll have to look for it. So you have to give me a second. I apologize. I thought I had it out here. I guess I don't. Let's see if it's in here. So this is a website for a mythical gym. All right. What you'll see in just a second is these pictures. There we go. And they fade in and out. Again, it's not a gee whiz type of thing. This is just garbage text that we're putting in here. And you'll notice we can go from a home page to an about page. And there, if you look at this, if you'll notice if I change, these are just pictures I took off the internet. They're nobody I know or anything else. Okay. And then we've got another page that says FAQ. And I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. And you click on it, it brings this up. It's a frequently asked questions page. We can open up as many of these as we want, including all of them, if we want to do so. That's pretty big, so let me make this smaller so you can see all of it. And if we click on it again, they close up. This is going to be the jQuery stuff. I don't want to talk any more about it right now, just so you see it. And then we're going to have this where we use some JavaScript. And if you put in your height, and if you put in your weight, I wish I was 175 pounds, and you click calculate, all right, you get what your body mass index is. And you're at an up, it'll say that you're underweight. If I put in something, now it says you're obese, but if I put in there, it says you're overweight. All right. And finally, what if I don't do anything? So what if I clear this and put nothing in here? Well, notice I get an error message, count to about 5, and it disappears. And it asks me again, how about if I put something in, but it's way out of line? Nobody's that tall. I get a different error message, or maybe it's the same one. I don't know. But again, then it'll disappear. And if I do this and put nothing in for the weight, I get a similar type of thing. Now, we didn't have to put this over here. We could have put it below or above, but I'm just trying to show you this. That's all. All right. So that's another of the ones that we have done. And this is a contact form. Again, a little hard to read, but you'll notice it expects a first name, a last name, address, city, state, and there's a listing of all the states. Zip code, which must be either in this format or this one, and a phone number, which must be in this format. These are called radio buttons, and these are called checkboxes. So notice if I don't choose anything, I get a bunch of errors. But as soon as I start filling stuff in, and I click it again, you'll notice how that error goes away. So now I've got most of them filled in. And when I come over here to submit, now I just get the zip code. Okay, but let's put in a zip code, but we'll just put in the number 1. That's it. So 1. Now we get invalid zip code format. So if I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's valid. But if I put in here a hyphen, it expects 4 numbers. If I don't put them in, it's invalid. It's still invalid. It's still invalid. Oops. It's still invalid. And now it's valid. And for a phone number, all right, it's expecting there to put something in there that's a valid phone number format. So if I put in 444 555 6666, now everything that's in there is valid. I would, of course, change it to that and to that, and I can check both of these, for example. This isn't going to go anywhere. So when I click submit, it just says that all my checks passed. That's all it does. Now you might say, well, why is that? Because this class that you would be taking in fall, the AWD1000 class, it basically concentrates solely on what we would call the client end. So it's basically setting up stuff for a user. The stuff that happens on what's called the back end, that's in the class you take, your third class, the AWD1100, Database Driven Web Development 1, and the AWD1115, Database Driven Web Development 2 courses. All right, that's pretty much what I wanted to show you. There's a few other things. All right, and I'll just leave you with this because sometimes people say to me, they'll say, hey, I get all this. How do I get started? Can you just give me some help? And I would suggest, I'm going to give you 2 websites. All right, the first one is it's w3schools.com. That's the first one I'm going to suggest. If you go out to w3schools.com, so I'm going to put that in here, hit enter, and you go over to, where is it? Tutorials. There's an HTML tutorial. There's a CSS tutorial. There is a JavaScript tutorial. We also talk in here about something called Bootstrap. There's a Bootstrap overview. This is a great place to get started. One other resource that I would recommend for people, and that is, I think it's developer.mozilla.org. I think that's right. I'm going to find out. That is it. Mozilla.org. I don't know, it could be dev.mozilla.org. I don't remember. It is developer.mozilla.org. Okay. So if you just put in this developer.mozilla.org and you hit enter, you're going to get to right here. So this is the second one, and I will send these URLs out. What you need is this. All right. That is a great place to get started. Now, if you go here and you go to references, notice what they have. HTML reference, CSS reference, JavaScript reference. What I did was I went through, so if you go out to HTML, I went through all these. There's quite a few in here, but I did this a couple years ago, so it might be a little dated, but I probably have, I don't know, 50, 100, whatever it is, lectures in here where I went through this. I'm going to link those up to my YouTube channel for this class. All right. And finally, as far as that goes, if you do go out to youtube.com and you search for me, so you put in there Jeff Scott hyphen Rankin Technical College, there'll be a red J that comes up in there. All right. And if you click on that, it'll bring up something that looks like this. Yours might look different because, of course, this is mine. If you go to playlists, there is a playlist for somewhere in here. I'll have to find it. Actually, this one's empty, so it's not going to show anything. But I did send out an email to people. Grab that email. Everybody who's in the class or is scheduled to be in the class, you all got an email from me that says this, the URL for my YouTube playlist. All right. And that's right here. So you'll notice if I bring it up, it's empty. This playlist will hold the videos for the AWD1000 Web Development Technologies class taught by Jeff Scott for the fall 2023 semester at Rankin Technical College. There's nothing in there. The tape that I'm doing right now will be put in there. Plus, again, I will put links to all those dev.mozilla.org things. Those will be in there. All right. It is my responsibility to make sure that before day one of class, which is 3 weeks from next Monday. All right. Or, however you want to look at it, 4 weeks from 2 days ago, whatever. It's August 28th. The class will meet Monday through Friday from 8:05 a.m. till 11:55 a.m. The way I typically do this is we'll go from about 8:05 till 9 o'clock. Then we'll take a 10-minute break. Then we'll go from 9 o'clock till about 9:50 or 9:55, then take another 10-minute break. And keep, just doing it like that. That'll be Monday through Thursday. All right. Fridays will be lab. You may get labs on some other days. If it's a day that I'm giving a hands-on test, I already mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to say it again. That hands-on test will be emailed to you. I will go over the options on the test between 8 o'clock and usually around 8:15 a.m. That test will be due to me by midnight that night. Even with that, if you're a brand new person, you might be like, well, what do you mean it's due? On the first day of class, I'm going to go over some software that you're going to need for this class. It's all free. All right. It's not big. It will not take long for us to do this. But we'll spend about the first, the first day of class, we'll go over the syllabus, the software that you need. Okay. So with that, what I'm going to do real quickly in here while I'm here. Don't know if it'll find it or not find it, but let's look. Of course not. That'd be way too easy. So let's see. That's it. So that's not mine. These are those lectures. So notice if you start looking in here, I don't know how many lectures there are. Looks like there's well over 100. All right. There are 200 lectures. Okay. And they are on that Mozilla Developer Network. They're going to be anywhere from 5 minutes long to maybe a half an hour long. All right. And I will make all those available to you. So they will all be out on the YouTube channel. If not today, then hopefully by tomorrow. All right. As always, if you have any questions, if I brought up anything on this mini little lecture that didn't make sense to you, just email me and I'll be glad to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. All right. So with that, I look forward to having all of you in the class. Again, we start Monday, August 28th. We will meet Monday through Friday from 8:05 a.m. until 11:55 a.m. daily. Oh, the last thing that just so you know, because people sometimes ask this, okay, do I have to be there for the lectures? Do I have to watch? Everything is taped. It's all going to be put out on this YouTube channel. Everything will be put out on the YouTube channel. Say that again. Everything will be put out on the YouTube channel. All right. And I strive to do that within a couple hours after my lectures. All right. Now, since I lecture from 8:05 till 11:55 a.m. I have a 10-minute lunch, and then I lecture from 12:05 to 3:55 p.m. All right. And I do that for my other class. So they'll be out, all this stuff will be out there that same day, but it may take a little bit longer depending on if I don't have my stuff ready and I'm hustling to get ready between classes. You will get an email from me every morning that we have class. So not on a lab day, but every other morning that will look something like this. Say hello, the day, the class. If you're joining us live, this will have the Teams link that you'll just be able to click on if you want to join the class. It'll say what we're doing on that day, what we're doing tomorrow, or maybe the rest of the week. And there'll be a please remember, which will have when your homeworks, etc., are due. And again, as always, please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. All right. So with that, I think I'm done right here. Okay. So I will talk to you soon. Enjoy the rest of your summer.